Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach Enough channel. In this video we're looking at our NRL SuperCoach team going into the first part of round one, the Vegas games for the 2025 NRL season. So did do a bit of a team reveal with the team list Tuesday video, but since then I've made a few changes. So I thought I'd get a video, sort of dedicated video for SuperCoach out there, showing you the plan for the team. And I thought what I'd do is sort of wipe everyone off, and that way we can do a bit of an actual team reveal. So we'll just go in regular order. So hookers first. We're going pretty cheap, really cheap. Where are we? We're going Corey Pakes and Sandon Smith. So Mamazelis is another good option. However, Pakes is 70k cheaper, so I expect a similar output. Maybe Mamazelis will score slightly higher, but at the lower price, Pakes offers just as much value. So I'm happy to start with Pakes. Sandon Smith, job security probably has him locked in there. And his dual position will be handy too in the case of, I guess, our cheap halfback doesn't have the job security that we project. So going to go with those two to start in the hooker position. In the front row, we are going to spend a bit of money, but I think it's well worth it given there's probably not going to be a lot of cash generating front rowers to start the year. So we're going with Terrell May, 50% owned for obvious reasons. He can go massive, and Supercoach really is all about upside at the end of the day. I have talked about anti-potting him during the pre-season, but peer pressure's got the better of me, and I've brought him in. Not that he's playing round one, but we are also bringing in Tino. Just came back for the trial. We didn't even think we were going to get to see a trial out of him. So the fact that he was fit enough to get a stint in and looked pretty good in it, he's locked into my team and going to be a useful loophole option this week. So Tino is in. On the bench, we're going with a couple of, I guess, mid-price options. With him being named for the Vegas game at front row, we're locking in Corey Horsburgh. Looks super fit. I guess would have loved to see him in a trial, but we'll take his previous form of playing for Queensland, playing that well, that he can do the job. And Nafahu White is the other option, which I've forgotten how much he costs. I thought he wasn't that expensive. Slightly more expensive than Horsburgh. There you go. I thought he was cheaper. But with the news that Lenyu's going to miss the first two games, looks like Nafahu White will start in the front row. And then you'd imagine you get a pretty decent role, probably first off the bench sort of thing. So not going to make a lot of money, but I guess until maybe a couple of the cheaper front rowers come to the fore, he'll be a very good placeholder, and also the dual position will be handy. So in the second row, we're starting with another front row, but Mitch Barnett. I've talked about him for a lot of preseason, that with Tohu gone, and with SJ gone as well, he's taken more of a leadership role as well. But big minutes through the middle, more of a front rower. They've got Clark and Walker all shared the 13. But I think he'll just be a really solid option, dual position as well, so providing us with that flexibility. After that, we're going for the value. There's lots of value in second row this year. If I can find the players. So the first one I've got is actually Tom Gilbert. So, he's coming back from his, was it ACL? I forget the injury, but he was out all of last year. But did play in the trial, looked pretty good. And, we know that he's capable of making a bit of money based on our previous output. So I've got him at the moment. He may sort of get downgraded if a couple of the real cheap options get up. I may chase that value, but at the moment, I'm happy to lock in the extra points that I'll get with Tom, and I have the budget to do so. Another popular option, Kelma Tuolangi, getting him in. Actually, not that popular, only 6%. That's weird. I thought for all the hype I've heard in the preseason, he'd be up there, but yeah, it looks like he's going to get an edge spot at the Eels. Probably the more likely one to get the 80 minutes as well. Um, so that obviously will impact his average in a positive way, given his PPM. After that, I've just realised I've forgotten one of the players I've picked. That's no good. I'll definitely do the two that I do remember though. Siwa Wong, Kobe Hetherington in, and Siwa Wong. So both of them, you know, playing 13 provides a bit more opportunity for minutes. You know, these guys previously coming off the bench, so at their price they do offer that good value. And then I'm pretty sure my last player was just one of the 232 options. I'll put Kautoga in. Here's my preferred option if he does get the start. But we have Gudjeski's probably more of the locked in option. You know, already sort of confirmed by Madge he's playing on the edge. Another name that's cropped up in the last sort of few days is Hubner with Murray out and a couple other injuries. He could be in the frame to start at 13 there at the Bunnies. So I think if that's the case, may have to go him. But I think that's basically what I had there. Like I said, I did forget who I actually had in that spot. But I think it was just a 232K type pick. In the halves, I don't think there's any changes from the Tuesday video. So Cleary at halfback alongside Tom Duffy. Um, we already know about Cleary, Duffy, you know, kicking goals. Definitely the long term seven at the club. So they'll give him a crack, and if he can stand up, I think it's his jersey to lose. They do have Jake Clifford, so job security isn't 100%, but we do have Sandon Smith to help us out there. At 5'8", we've got Metcalf, you know, very popular pick. I think, again, we've talked about him a lot in preseason, but for those that might just be joining in, it's having a little meltdown now. Don't do me like this. There we go. Um, yeah, so kicking goals, playing halfback, and I can see he's got the dual position now as well. So good to see they've updated those positions from Team List Tuesday. So yeah, dual position as well, which is going to be super handy. So yeah, I think he's a no brainer. And then I'm going Jaden Campbell. So parking two Titans players on the bench is a bit controversial. Um, but just watching him in the trial, you know, just remind me of his old man playing halfback, you know, converting from a fullback essentially. So really excited for the Titans this season. That spine is pretty uh, sexy looking, if I do say so. So yeah, 2% ownership as well. I think is a real super pod play, um, and it's going to save me a trade. You know, I could just plug Brown or Burton in for round one, but I think I'd really want Campbell from round two on. So going it early, save a trade. At centre wing, so as much as I was keen on the Val Holmes pod play, I've decided to go sort of mid price. I think there's a fair bit of value in around the 500K mark. First one being RTS. Moving to the wing opens up opportunities for tackle breaks and more runs. So I guess they lead to more tackle breaks. So RTS I think offers a good bit of value and with the scoring. And also for the Vegas games in particular, I'm going with Leia Tower. So, you know, another one who's been hyped up for a while. Every time you see him, he looks pretty good. So I'm hoping he breaks out this season. So I'm happy to lock him in for round one, again at that price. Greg Marzu as well, you know, probably a bit underpriced for what he can do, given he's a tackle breaking machine. Um, you know, and the Knights got their full complement back. Yeah, they've got a nice draw to start. I think he can pop off early. And then in line with my strategy, tackle breaking machines, I've circled back around to Jarrell Skelton. So, loved his work at the Dogs. Sad to see him go. He probably would have started this season, I think, if he was still there with the injuries and whatnot. But he's gone to the Tigers, and I hope they take advantage of his tackle busting ability. So just playing for power basically is the plan there. And then the bench, we're just going to go the cheapies. So Toa, Purdue, and find him at the bottom somewhere, Rob Toyer. So these seem to be the three most nailed on. I think if he gets the start, I'd be very tempted by Finau at the Dragons, given he's playing outside of Val Holmes on that left edge. I think the other options like Tui Piloto and that are too expensive. But if it cheapy on that wing, he might find his way in for Toa. But I think Toa's just got the job security. And so then fullback and flex, everyone's going the three fullbacks, and I'm going with those three most popular as well. So Tommy Turbo, Isaiah Iongi, Kalen Ponga. You know, um, Turbo I think is the biggest upside player in the game, so happy to have him in the squad. Ponga has that nice draw. I think he'll be the highest scoring player through the first month, so I want him on board. And Iongi, I just can't ignore the value. I know some teams are talking about going three fullbacks for 2 weeks and then trading down to Iongi to try and just get a few points, but I don't think Iongi will be that far behind the likes of a Reece Walsh or James Tedesco or Dylan Edwards. He's pretty good. So I'd rather save the trade and take advantage of the value that's there. So it must have been a more expensive second rower because I've still got 156. So let's go back and have a look. What was it? Three? Oh, I know who it was now. I don't know how I've played around him there. He'd probably be pretty highly owned too. But Fini Fuiaki at the Dolphins, they've hyped him up at last few years up at the Cowboys. There's just been a bit of a logjam in the second row. But he finally gets a crack at the Dolphins. It would seem he's got that starting edge spot. So, yeah, can play him. But in saying that, if we do get a couple of those cheapies in the second row, we could potentially, upgrade Gilbert to another keeper. Um, we'll see how that goes. But at the moment, this is how the team is. So I'll save the team. Um, hopefully it'll save. There we go. So yeah, vice captain, captain is pretty much here. So I guess what I'd recommend is your vice captain should be playing in Vegas. And then obviously if Cleary goes off this week, we can't put Campbell on field because Metcalf will be locked out. But Tino will stay on field and we'll bring in enough to captain for week one. But more likely, what will happen is we probably won't play the loophole this week. Ponga will stay as captain. Um, and then in terms of the bench, so I think Duffy is locked in on the bench. Yongi is definitely on the bench. Um, and then after that, I guess it's going to be two of these guys. Um, and at the moment, I'm leaning towards probably Hetherington. Um, and I'm not quite sure between White and Wong. So probably, well, actually, I guess Horsburgh needs to come on the field because he's playing in Vegas, so we need to make sure he's locked away. Yeah, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Vegas players. There's no right number. Again, it depends who you want in your overall squad. Um, but yeah, so the fourth bench spot's a bit of a toss up. But I guess just another little tip. Say I do go with White. So when you look at the draw, you'll see the two Vegas games, and then you've got the Broncos Roosters play Thursday night, right? And then say for example Melbourne Para play Sunday Arvo. So what you want to do is make sure you've got the players that play later in the round on your bench when you can. So that's even to say for this week, it doesn't look right, but May would be on my bench alongside Tino, but he does play after White. So it just gives you that flexibility that, if something happens to May, you can change players before it's too late. We hope nothing bad happens, but sometimes these things go sideways. So that's how my team will look. Obviously, it is pending the next team list Tuesday. But just wanted to clear that up, lock in those Vegas players because, I've got a pretty busy week coming up as well. So probably with the team list for the rest of the round, the final team reveal locked in will probably be Tuesday night um, just because the next 3 days after that are off the wall hectic. Um, and it's probably a good thing. I won't be tinkering around with my team so much because I'll be so flat stick. So it's a good win. But we'll wrap the video up there. As always, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below this video. Give us a like if you enjoy the NRL SuperCoach content. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.